Hello and welcome to my live stream. I'm your host, Runnhurd, and we're in model working today. Yeah, I really gotta get used to saying all the small things. Anyway, as you can see, I'm got some model up, but basically this, what you were seeing is actually one that was finished some time ago. But as you can see, it belongs to Manic from Sonic Underground. Yes, I made a complete, accurate version of his drum set, as you can see. Now then, as we're going to start, I'll start some music and we'll get straight into it. Okay, volume. Oh, Manic's drums, as you can see, is 100% accurate. But this is not what we're working on today. This is what we're working on today. I've got to do a little upgrade to Manic's outfit. And, well, actually, I got a lot to upgrade. What you see is basically the design of Manic and Sonic Underground. So, I'm going to do some edits to fix it all. Basically, a friend of mine who does the rigging and some textures, I'm going to fix it up so we can do it better, because he's found a lot of issues. Without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Let's see now, let's see. You know what? I've got a lot more to do. Like, for one, I'm going to make this belt bigger, do some adjustment to the jacket. Oh, I hope you guys all like this. That's fine. Okay. So, first of all, let's get everything unattached. Yeah, we're going to need this to be one set. Also, since it's cold, I'm trying something out myself to hope it not get cold. And yes, Kyle, it is Manic. I've got some ideas to upgrade on him. Okay. If anyone's wondering, I actually have made a sign. Yeah, yes, I have. So, let's see. This jacket needs a lot of fixing, so first of all, let's see. Oh wait, this is basically for a slightly good gen version. This hair is basically more of the. Where you get the idea? But let's get back to work. Okay, see. I'll move these out of the way. Move this here. Move. Yeah, we're going to do this one at a time. I'm going to make it a pure better model. That means a lot of work. I mean a lot. Okay, let's see. We'll start with the jacket, shall we? Jacket's mostly fine, but I also noticed a few errors. Okay. might have to remake the jacket. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, copy, detach. Oops. Oh. Okay. First of all, we need to increase the size a bit. Okay, secondly, lower that down. And thirdly, what's the third thing? Yeah, cut out. Okay. Got the tail. It's pretty simple. Sonic belts are a bit more bigger than the one I've got on this model so currently. So we're gonna make it bigger. Yeah. Which means we have to make the jacket bigger too. And take that off. Let's get this. Okay, so we got this done, but it's going to take a lot more work, and I mean a lot more work. That's okay. Detach. Move. Mirror. Okay. Okay, that's okay. Cleaner. Smoother. Now then, that's the belt. Oh wait, let's with the top bit first, so we can see what we're doing. We'll probably have to remake the pouch well. Cloud, this is actually for a friend. Okay, let's take a look. This model, what I was doing, is for a friend because he really wanted Manic. Yeah, that should do. Just a small adjustment. How is it? Oh, then. Yep. Okay. So a bit more belt-like. Now, I was putting in a thought. I don't need only have to work on one side because I can mirror this. Okay. Next. If you're wondering why I did do this bit, it's because it's to make it easier, because sometimes you have to add polygons to make it work. Like that looks better. Okay, let's just do that one. And yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Okay, there we go. Next we grab the bottom bits. Make sure we only grab them. And shrinking. And now comes the best bit. Finishing the whole thing. Put that up to get a bit more detail. And that bit up. That's way so it looks like it's a proper belt. And the same for the bottom. And that belt is pretty much done. Except for the one bit, and that's the buckle. And we are going to make a proper buckle for it too. Or not. Well, we probably see. Okay. Now we're going to cut this in half, because we only need one. And detach. And so. The belt looks nice. Okay, next. We have to copy the body for space. Now then, as you see, I've now got to cut this bit off. Why? The simple reason is, it's to make the one edit to this better. And that is, the clothes are going to be part of the actual model, so yeah. I should be able to cut it half first. Also, it seems the onesie is helping. My hand is literally nice and warm. Oh, it does feel a bit of a cold, but it's fine. So, yeah. I can keep this up for the full 2 hours. Okay. Okay, Kyle, but would you still have to pay them? Now then, let's attach that, because we still got to do the small adjustment of this. Now then, set that there. Set that there. Yeah, we're better that way. Sometimes I get points. Okay. Bring this down a bit. Oh yeah. If anyone's finding it a bit hard to see, that's okay. just relax. Because you need a clean hide to remove this. And even though I can't have a keen eye, memory is not the one thing I do have. Of course, we should say memory is the key. If you ever watch a certain what was that called? Oh yeah. Red versus blue. And also, as just to remind you, the reason why I'm doing this is because it's for a friend. Plus, it's to make it easier to rig. Okay, the belt is on. Now let's just give it a little more detail. That means I'm adding 2 certain detail lines to it. As you've probably seen in the other videos of this, what I'm doing is highlighting certain lines so I can do this. First of all, we'll add the red line. This will make it so I can cut it from the body easier. Second, we'll add the green line. Green line makes it sharp, so it doesn't blurry bend. That's it. Add. There we go. A quick little grab, mark red, and oh, but we're not done yet. Let's see. And there we go, the belt is on. Nice and clean. Of course, we still got to make the buckle, which we'll do later. On it, which just mirror this to show off. Nice clean belt. Alright, Miles. Save up. Make sure you've got that saved. Okay, now next bit is the jacket. That looks nice better. Okay, let's get the jacket. Now for this jacket, we're going to do a little adjustment. Well, more adjustment. One, we're going to move the spikes. Oh wait, we got to halve it first. Sometimes the easier way to halve is with block. Like so. Okay, let's tear it up. There we go. There we go. Now you're probably wondering, why am I only doing that much? Reason? I have a cunning plan. Move that. Remove the other half. Okay. Now then. Actually, do we have any colours? Actually, you know, let's add a colour. Yeah, why not? There we go. Now it looks. Now I can probably see it. Now then, see jacket. We'll cut off here. That and sliced. With that. Now, what I'm going to do with the jacket is it's going to be attached to the body, but because it's a jacket, it's got to be. As you see, there's going to be a problem. So, to fix that, we will pretty much do this. Detach that, put that down here. My next jacket is small, so okay, here we go. Yeah, did you notice there's a few things can't do, so we can fix that. Like this. wait, scrap. Simple fix of the jacket. Also, if you're wondering why I'm attaching the body bits to the body, it's because, trust me, it's a lot simpler to do than to rig a body weight like this. Oh, scrap! Oh, scrap! Oh, scrap! Oh, scrap! I forgot to play the music. Sorry, give me a second. Spent half an hour and I forgot to play the music. Sorry. And I'm fine, Space Boy. Just doing my work on this. So yeah, that should be okay. Okay, so that should be fine. I hope. This seems there's going to be some stuff to do, you think? That's true. So it's going to stop. sorry again about the music pack I got. Yeah, I'm gonna do the jacket the same as. Where you go down? Okay. Ooh, the jacket's supposed to go a bit more work, and it's fine. Let's put this away. Oh, wait, we've got to cover this one. This is on the other side. Got to do this again. Nice. Give it up. Wow. And also, sorry, I'm not in the chat because it's literally covered, so I can't see it. Oh, I see. Okay. First of all, we got choose. Okay, we'll just put it now. Cut the inside. Cut the inside. Oh, oh. Yeah, you're probably saying you should have cut that with the heads. Where's the fun in that? Okay, let's see, that's done. Let's attach the back first, shall we? Oh. Whoops. Where are they? Now, you're wondering about the small details. That's simple. By small details, I mean, as you can see, how do we, like, the small details I'm talking about is pretty much to make it look more like the spikes coming out. So yeah. Which is what I did with the belt. So yeah, you can see that too.
There ain't no stopping us. Fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star.
Now we have to do the one small bit.
Didn't even get to cross. I'm moving too far. Get to glass.
And then we have the, you know what?
Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt.
Well,
we on.
it is spike.
Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate. Shoot, 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 yeah, shoot, shoot, yeah, shoot, 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 yeah.
Just make sure the whole bending in that hole just like that. Save it.
Didn't even get to bronze. Moving too far, getting lost.
That's an error. I can do it now. Hands not cold. Thank you, Wandy. Let's make big. That's the point. With that in there. And with that, in case. go. Part of the jacket's done. Now then, where's the begin? Bit. Let's see what details give detail. We'll fix this there.
The world has been broke down. The world is just announced. Final time is now. The final time to bow. But I will not get down. For you can't force me now. Awakening is clear. I could show you how. I could show you how to fight them. I could show you how to defeat them now.
Fix this. Find out what it is. Focus on the details. Okay, let's just go a bit first.
I'm holding on for you to come around. I've waited for so long, I've run aground. I feel I'm burning up inside. Oh, hear me crying.
Now begin the next bit.
Like everyone's alive, and I am dying. 'Cause you are all I need. The reason I breathe.
Voilà. And we got a jacket. Okay, first of all, let's make sure we got this mat. This is going to be an outfit. that.
without the pain and all the strife. I know that you can make me sane. Stop me crying. I know that you will keep me safe. Safe from dying. 'Cause you are all I need.
Yeah, that's what I did. He's a bit evil, isn't it? Okay. Right, jacket is pretty much on. I'm just going to attack bottom bit. Yeah, this will take some time. After that.
Only by frozen memories. It's fine. Racing all these broken
And now for the exclusion. Voila! That is done. The fixed up body is pretty much done. Now then. The pouch could be a bit bigger, don't you think?
way back to you. Until you make amends with the
Let's see what
demons
you're
you've
about.
been
Let's get rid of it.
through. I can't regret leaving you alone until you find your way back home.
No, let's remake the pouch.
Until you find your way back home.
Debug all this. Easy, simple to do. Hedgehog. Voila! Attach. Okay, just your own body. Voila! A new jacket. Let's move these back.
Don't let me drown.
Wait, did I put the wrong one? Oh, wait, put it down. Move all this because it's just extra. And voila! A brand new jacket and belt fits on my I still got an hour, so we'll work on the boots. And then hopefully I can do some remapping.
Until you find your way back home.
No,
Mine joined me.
sorry, it's just.
Hey Miles.
Oh, hey. So, sorry. Give me a second.
Everyone? Everyone
Alright.
who's gonna watch this in the future or watch it now, this is my friend Miles. He's the one who found the little errors on this when he was trying to rig it. This is
My
why I'm
apologies.
doing, but this is why I'm doing it this way. Attaching the jacket and belt to the body. I mean, I made the belt
The original.
bigger,
Oh, wait,
and
that's
the
fine.
jacket looked more thing. Now it looks. Well, actually, it looks a lot better.
The only thing I worry about is possibly the clipping. And that's only if I think I may get it wrong, but I think I can fix that if I know what I'm doing. The only reason I worry about that is because, if I recall correctly, Sonic characters have a weird way of working when it comes to making physics. Now, at first I think it should be simple enough if it's like a Gary's mod port, but the only problem is sometimes the arms can clip into the jacket if it's positioned wrong, which it can be possible, but I think there is a way to make it work. I just have to figure it out. Given the fact it's attached to the body, maybe we could scale up the spine spine collision box, maybe just a tad, to where it will keep the arms from falling into the jacket. Because that's the issue I've seen in some models where people just kind of port over the model and say, hey, it works, and then that's the problem. You see clipping, and it really makes it unappealing.
Okay,
But
like
that's my...
this still clipping.
I mean, that's kind of the problem with Evil Sonic as well, but that's a problem I'll have to look back at. Either that or it's not noticeable because the arms and the body of the jacket both have the same material. With Manic, it's simply just sleeves are removed, but I don't know.
limit it, you have to choose, make choices.
The reason I say that is because, for the most part, models, as far as I can tell you when it comes to Gary's mod, are a whole different breed compared to SFM. As we already probably know, the way with SFM is you simply just port the model and make sure it works. The face flexes work, the textures are done correctly, material files are done correctly, and that's good and easy. The problem with doing it in Gmod is you have a new problem, and that would be physics. You have to know how much limitation you want on the model to move.
Which is how a lot of them in that literally shake rapidly, right?
No, sometimes they shake because of... That could be one problem, if the physics are done incorrectly. Sometimes it's also other issues, such as maybe it gets caught up in a collision thing. It happens to all models, trust me. I'm talking more like how far the arm can bend, how far it can move, the limitation of your rotation. Like if you want a head to move up and down, left and right, you have to figure out how much of a percentage you want forward, back, side to side, maybe based off the coordinates. It's not exactly the easiest thing, but SFM does help a little bit if you're testing it using your physics. It's not the worst. It's kind of a pain in the rear though. But this is why I sometimes want to tell you, hey, be glad you don't try to port these things, because let me tell you, it's a nightmare. And I don't even think there's a tool that automatically does it for you, because if there is, then where has it been all my life? It's kind of what the gun robot suffered from when we first did that robot. I still probably need to go back and fix its physics boxes. Maybe I won't, I don't know.
Maybe. It all depends, right?
It really depends. I mean, the gun robot wasn't a bad model. The only thing I may have problems with it is trying to figure out the limitation of how it's supposed to move. Because, let's face it, those robots are very clunky, they're not exactly easy to figure out, and on top of that, I guess it's kind of a weird thing to figure out, and I'm pretty sure Sega isn't going to give us any information on it.
Yeah, got all this stuff to do it themselves.
And not to be rude, but I'm going to say it. I talked with Brock about your gold incident, and I'm not too pleased with that. I know you mean well, but why'd you fight at Evan? That was just kind of ridiculous.
Like
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Here, let me pull up the chat, and I'll read off what I remember being told.
It's not a good idea to do that when we do live stream. Also,
how? Oh, I see, but
did Manic have you 3 legacies on his piece of shoe? Oh boy.
give me a minute.
This is might have done the double on the last shoes.
If you give me a second, I'd give you the damn answer. But instead, you want to rush me. And that's the worst thing you can do.
Sorry.
According to the concept artwork sheet, it... let's see. According to some sheets, according to most fan art, it's 30. According to every screenshot I'm looking at right now, okay, that's weird. It's very inconsistent, apparently. Throughout most of the cartoon, it has been 2 laces. Throughout most of the cartoon, it was 2 laces. However, there were cases where sometimes they really weren't that smart with splitting them apart, and sometimes it'd be closer, sometimes it'd be further. Other times, it just looked stupid. I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and from what I can tell you, it's 2 laces with the minor exception of artwork. There was only 1 case of artwork where it was 3, officially. Only 1 time. Otherwise, it's 2. And what I mean by Evan is, it had to do with how you did the rings. Whenever Evan suggested, okay, it looks weird, wouldn't it be better to fix all those together? You just refused to change it. That wasn't the smartest move. Given the fact this is the creator of all things. They would know by now how a character's supposed to go. And then this had to happen. I'm not too pleased with it. By doing that, it shows, in my opinion, you have no respect for the creator, and simply decide you do whatever you want. That's not the smartest move, by all means. That separates more potential trust than anything else.
Are we literally talking about gold?
Yes, because Navrak was so damn close to making that render, and then that incident happened. It was against the wishes of the character creator this time.
To do what render?
Doesn't. Okay, let me tell you. There's a lot of reasons why he barely uses your models in the first place. And I'm gonna straight up tell you what it is. Because at this time, it's not even to be rude. It's more of, this is something you may actually want to consider working on. The thing is, you have done things in the past that have made it harder for him to consider even making renders with your model work. And he said, you know, I was like this close to making a render for gold. When I talked to Evan, they brought up the weird design choice of the ring / the bangles, as in the rings around her arms and legs. In which the way you designed them was you stacked them on top of each other at different scales. And according to the official art that was displayed, they were all connected. Not connected, they were all stacked up at even scale. All of them were the exact same scale.
Which is a bit hard in the models tab.
It's not that hard. It really isn't. All you'd have to do is tweak the top of the boot to where it's more small and rounded, kind of like how table shoe is underneath all of that. That would have worked just fine. And remember, they pointed that out. You instead run up against the creator's intentions and said no. And then what's this about? Oh, for Navrak not to change the boots on Mimic? I don't remember telling him that at all. When did I ever say that? Because I talked with him about that. And he said he told me that I would be mad if he changed the shoes. But now I think he was referring to you. Because honestly, looking at the boots that he did, they were fucking good. They were really good. And then there's the ones with the boot you had intended, which looks off as hell. The ones that he just copied from the Whisper model, which looks fine enough. So I don't see
Are we talking about the
why,
boots that's updated
and
to
maybe this is me being...
model or what?
You really have a hard time paying attention, clearly.
I'm trying to, but I'm a bit lost. Because I don't know if you're talking about the old mid model or late model.
This is about multiples. Not just one, multiple. And each of them have a problem that have to do with the creator. Because number one... Okay, you know what? Fuck it. This, I'm gonna make as short as I can. Number one. The gold model, apparently, Evan talked to Navrak about it. He got in contact with her about it. And then there was something about the golden rings that were attached to her arms and legs being a wrong scale, because each of them are spread at a diagonal angle. Evan suggested to tweak those because it looks weird. And instead of doing so, you refused.
The actual designer of Gold never got in contact with me. He only got in contact with Rock then.
Then you still kind of bit at the creator. Because you simply just refused and said, oh, well, no.
No one got in contact with me! No one told me!
The
So,
fuck
what you're saying
is
is,
going...
Rock was talking to them and... It seems...
Yes, when he was
No
talking
one
with
is
Evan,
talking
they
to
brought
me
up
about
the
this.
design. I think I know why then. Because anytime people have talked to you about things, you really do put them on edge. I hate to tell you that. But the thing is, you have come off with a lot of problems over the years that people can't work with. And that comes with a lot of consequence. Those actions are, you have gone up against Jackie Dick for simple coloration regarding your Breezy model, which you ran up against him. And you kept telling him change the shoe color, despite the fact you made it public and let him, as well as everybody else, have access to it. You instead tried to force him into your ideology, which was, oh, it has to be gray sold like Sega style, which didn't mean jack shit.
Well, to me it did.
Not only that, but then this comes up into my history, and you have been very critical regarding a lot of people's work with you. I've noticed that where he even avoided using your Mina model as best as he could because of how you are about a lot of things, where it has to be almost perfect, and that causes a lot of problems.
So I took the thing what Brock did, and on my latest models I've literally just won't post them unless someone pays for them to be uploaded.
That doesn't have to do with the access part. This has to do with more of the issues that have been dedicating to why he's very hesitant about doing anything with your work and why he spends more time making custom models than he does asking to use any. That's what I'm getting at.
And you know this is not very good for us.
Oh well.
What I do is want to work because I just do.
That doesn't really answer a lot of the
I do my
actions.
best. That's what I try to do.
And sure, but why do you think it's okay to go up to people like that and say, "Hey, color this correctly because I said so," even though you let it out to the public that this is totally accessible? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's not like it was a custom character that you simply designed and said, well, this character is mine and I want it to be respected. This was a character made by a official Archie comic member, and you were given the opportunity to simply make it from the ground up in A-Form 3D. So by that extension, you have let that happen. It was simply just a minor edit, and instead of simply going,
All
well,
I try to do is focus the models in model style, as in Sega.
doing that doesn't make any sense because what you're doing is you're limiting not just yourself but other people. And plus, how would you know what quote Sega style is when number one, their style never exactly stays consistent? You should know this by now. Look at how models have changed over the years every single time, and some modifications have occurred even within their lineup. I mean, take a look at the way how eyes were done in Generations versus Lost World, or even just Forces. The styles constantly changed. Like, for example, Classic's eye in Generations was nothing more than a oval with a black color scheme. Now, it's entirely modeled to be a very similar shape, but now it has detail to it. Like, it's more gray on the outside with a black iris in the middle. So the design argument falls apart completely.
I just do what I can see, that's all. My best what I can do.
Yeah, how does that justify any of the actions that have been done to other people? That's not making a whole lot of sense to me.
Then explain this to me. I just do my best, what I can see, what I focus on. And a lot of people will criticize and all that, but a lot of people of my friends, like Turbo and that, and you, have told me to not listen to them. Which I try
But
to.
there's a difference between accepting criticism as in, okay, this is what needs to be tweaked and what needs to be worked on, but at the same time, there's a difference between bad criticism and actual criticism. There's two different cases. It's not. Okay. Let me tell you what bad criticism is. Bad criticism is just simply put, it sucks. That doesn't help a person figure out what do they need to do to make it better. Just telling them it sucks doesn't work. Now, sitting down and actually talking to them about it, like, okay, I like what you did here. Like, let's say, for example, let me find one model I'll actually bring up. And it's just going to be an example, because I'm not going to straight up slaughter off and make everything worse than it needs to be.
Well, there's one thing I can see.
Give me a
When I
minute.
first made gold, whatever it's called, I know it's to do with Arabian style, but do you know how hard that was to make the first time? And
I mean, all it is a scale thing. That's what I'm getting at. It's the simple part where...
yeah, but I had to remake it because it was impossible for my friend.
The dress thing, that's fine. He already talked about having to do the dress before. And that worked fine.
Yeah,
Maybe he remade it.
yeah, I had to remake it completely. I actually got an idea to remake it back since I did those upgrade models for.
Then are you sure you don't want to just fix the rings to be more like this case?
I can
Where
try,
they're all aligned?
but
I mean, it's not that hard when you think about how legs are in the franchise now, where if you scale it just right, it can work.
I know an idea.
It looks
might
weird,
work,
but...
still.
Let me find another piece of work then, because I really am trying to find a good example in how to do it without coming off the way I usually do.
Well, I could put this in one view.
I'm not going to use my aggression. Shut up, William. You don't make it easier for me. I'm sorry,
Well-
but you can't tell me use my aggression when that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to not use my aggression to be able to simply do critique, because, let's face it, when you let that happen, you're going to go a little too hard on it. And that's the last thing I need to do right now, is just totally lose my mind because of childishness, okay? That's the last thing I need to do. You know what? Gerald's Lab, there we go. That's one point I want to make, and even though it is an old model, it's something to consider for next time.
Yeah, that
I really didn't like how some of the small details were there, where it was just kind of weak. I'm not saying it was a bad attempt, I'm saying that it was a little weird because I started looking into each part and there's some crucial details missing. Like on the pods on the outside, the failed projects, they were never included, which is a little strange given the fact it was supposed to be a remaster from the ground up. That looks a little weird to me. It really does. Then you have the computer, which I felt really could have used a touch-up. But I get it, it's supposed to be a tiny detail, why would it matter? I feel like making it a little more detailed would have made it really pop and stand out. I'm not saying you have to go crazy and model a whole keyboard, even though it would be cool, it's kind of pointless. So I can see why it would be such a pain. That and some of the... Okay, so other things I'm noticing that could have been done a little more is I feel while there is some very neat details in there, there's also some missing ones. And that was due to, at the time, screen ripping is not that easy versus ripping it straight from the files. We now have that, and I don't know if you ever want to consider going back to it. That's an option, but it's nothing major. However, I do like what you did with some of the changes, such as you added some ball joints here and there to make it really stand out. That looked amazing, even though the problem with most Shadow models is interpretation is a pain in the rear.
I know that.
But the critique is, it looks good, but there are some things that look a little wonky here and there, and some things missing. Otherwise, it was a pretty decent remake. See, now that is fair enough of a critique. Like, okay, some things are missing. Like the experiments and all that stuff. That is a decent critique. Where you point out the good and the bad for something, or maybe it's just a small point about what could be fixed. Bad critique is just, oh, it sucks. And then someone just says, because it does, instead of telling someone what exactly sucks. And it depends on the tone, too. Someone can come off as decent or just come off as aggravating. It depends. That is the key of knowing. Does that make more sense?
So,
Alright then, that makes enough sense. Fine by me. And then again, I should take what he says with a grain of salt too, because...
Also, if you can see what I'm doing, nice.
Give me a minute. If I'm even still on there, give me a minute. The thing is, maybe I am talking with him a little too much here lately, because that is something that I've started to note. Perhaps everyone's experience is different. I don't really know. Maybe this was things that you did years ago versus what you've done now. But the thing is, if this is going to become a consistent thing I'm going to start noticing, then I'm going to be a little startled. Because that's the last thing I want is more chaos than what we already have. Then again...
But there's one chaos we do need Sega technologies.
I don't really care that much about Chaos. Truth be told, I mean, he's an okay character, but really, I don't.
Okay, how is this for
have
the
that much
shoe?
to care for him.
How's this for?
Give me a...
It's only got 2 laces, but
It really depends on how you want to view the lace scale, because
scrap.
hold on one second.
Oh, wait,
it
no.
really depends.
This should be more out. Sorry.
Give me a minute to look through the gallery. The reason I'm saying that is because a lot of the times they weren't very consistent on it. So I guess interpret it as you wish. Sometimes they made them too thin and a little spread out. Other cases they made them too close together and too tight. It really depends on your perspective.
Well, I was actually thinking about because these bits.
Then again, I'm gonna straight up say maybe what everyone's already thinking, but let's face it, Underground's animation team was garbage anyway, so take it with a grain of salt.
Well, the thing is, Underground's animation actually reminds me of something I used to make out of paper.
My biggest problem with it is just how inconsistent everything was and how off it was. They would sometimes do these dumb things where they draw it so awkwardly, the scale would be off, the faces would look janky as hell.
Oh, I know.
It's just, I'm looking at some of the pages right now, or some of the gallery screenshots people took for the series, and god dang. Like, for example, in one picture titled When in Rome 12, I guess the episode, his shoelaces are so spread apart, it's ridiculous. And yet on another page, you barely see them in another When in Rome page, and in the Underground Protagonist page, which I'll link, hate the way they do their stupid noses. Jesus Christ.
Noses look too big.
Bother. Yes, that's the biggest problem. Like, certain characters, I can understand them having that, but this looks stupid. Angle it at an... Here, I sent you a screenshot of what I'm talking about.
Well,
Like, sometimes that would be... That's not gonna help. Figure it out. Fine.
Also, about that thing
If you're
you
gonna-
said about the actual owner of the character, they talked to Rock because he was going to pose it, but they did not ask me when I was the one who made the model. Weird, isn't it?
Maybe... I don't know. He said, I didn't want to drag this more into drama being in the middle, so I simply didn't render the character. Okay.
Well,
But I don't know what he's talking about in terms of that then. Because he told me whenever you gave Mimic to him, that you stated you didn't want the boots changed at all, and that you said it was something I requested at the time? I don't remember saying that in the first place. But he did play it safe and did both anyway.
I remember
I
you
don't-
saying to change about the boots being the new model of her.
Maybe you simply muddled it together where you said, okay, there's a certain way you wanted it, and then there was a certain way maybe I did. I don't remember. I don't care. It was a while back anyway, so it doesn't
And
fucking
people
matter.
can muddle up what they say or forget. All I know is when people talk to me about things, they usually think I mean one thing when I mean something else.
Then I think you need to kind of work on either a way to work on saying what you're trying to say, or maybe put it into like a small MP3, a small recording, so people can understand it better. Because sometimes you say one thing in text and then it comes off as another thing whenever you say it in vocal, which it does screw with my head sometimes. I try to understand it, but not all the time it works.
Well,
Let me see.
I think what happened is
That and
he
I'm
doesn't
gonna be a
remember
little
what I
rude.
said.
I'm gonna be a little rude, but forgive me for what I'm about to say. Don't try to constantly do this whole Sega style thing. It's only limiting your mindset to where, oh, it has to be one way or another. The company isn't coming up and judging. I mean, look, Whisper and Tangle stand out strongly versus everything else, and yet they mesh so well. They're not the same style as everybody else has been in recent years, yet it works.
Yeah,
So
but
what's the point in
even
what's
though
the point of trying to do it that way when you can just kind of go with the style that works?
Well, when I
for you?
made the upgrades to the game models to be more detailed, that actually gave me more insight.
And that's fine, but I've noticed there's a lot of models I've seen you argue for, saying, oh, it has to be,
Which is what
A
the
particular
insight is
style.
with this.
and that's the problem I have. It's just that there are some characters you can't sit there and say, oh, well, I'm just going to do, quote, Sega style and call it a day. No, that doesn't work all the time. Instead, that really limits the idea of what you're trying to aim for. It doesn't have to be by all means the exact same style, but at least have some creative integrity instead of just, okay, this is what they would do, instead of trying to let yourself think, what would I do? That's what I'm getting at, because I think really some of those things limit you
now to
on what you
remap
can do.
this whole thing. Yeah,
Christ.
all I gotta do is now remap the body and shoot, and it's all done.
I mean, maybe for the body if you're going to just use Sonic's texture, so that would work just fine.
Yeah, best not to change anything like that.
But that's simply a point. My point is, there are certain characters I can understand having to take some limitations with, but there are some characters I don't see why you would want to. Like, for example, whenever you worked on Finitivis the first time, you argued strongly, oh, it has to be Boots. It has to be Boots because that's what he wore during the time. even though most of the time we've seen him in any of the pages, they aren't even anywhere to be seen. It's always been these huge wrappings that make it look like a modified knuckle shoe at the time, which I never understood, nor do I still understand it.
Yet, that's the thing
Because
about
I
Vinci
feel-
Vince, the
But that's the thing I feel.
anti-chaotic kingdom. His
But I
model
do feel-
literally. But then it all depends on the artist, I guess, as we all guessed. Sometimes
But most of them
they
did it
look
that
like,
way, and that
sometimes
was
they
fine.
look like metal wrappings, sometimes they just look like wrappings, sometimes they do not look like wrappings.
I would say wrappings is the best choice.
But the question is, why keep it as wrappings?
I feel keeping it at wrappings is the best choice because it really does work that Egyptian kind of look he's got. It really does scream this Egyptian style that works well for him. This creepy albino who kind of hides in ruins and abandoned bases. We've noticed that. We've noticed that a lot. And the thing about that I'd really like to keep is the reason for wrappings is because of that. Just
The
this
mummy.
overall aesthetic. He does have this almost undead-like aesthetic, and I like that. I like that a lot.
AKA the mummy.
Pain, and it constantly boggles your mind sometimes. Not only that, but anytime I saved, I couldn't get the... I kept getting the old versions every single time I saved. I had to go back and delete the old ones after closing them and finishing up the new ones. So then the new one would replace it. It was a lot of deleting and replacing. Because what would be the point in just having it look so weird? And in the end, we got it, but I haven't gotten the winter one yet because that one's going to be a bitch to do due to how much, having to do the snow textures again for the body. All I did was a paintbrush and a material known as snow. It was just simple snow. And I had to play around with the opacity, meaning how thick it is, how fully visible it is, and then play with the spacing, which helped a little bit, but not a lot. I'm going to have to go redo it eventually.
Well, one thing
But
I'll
I'll
say
probably wait.
about one thing is how will I know about things if others do not talk to me?
I talked to you about it.
No,
I should have
no.
showed you the problem.
This is basically back to what the whole thing about gold.
Okay. Maybe you need to talk to them and say, hey, if there's a problem, let me know about it. I mean, I don't know what to tell you because, truth be told, I don't know what these people do versus what you do. That's the thing.
Even though I just made it serious.
Because there's clearly a lot of...
Everything can be improved. That's one thing.
I guess that is true. However, maybe I'm being a little too hard. I don't know. It's just... There's a part of me that's weird, I guess, with this whole... I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my nature. Maybe it's just me striving for the best quality. I don't know where it's...
done on to do with mapping.
That is a fair point. I mean, here's another question I have, and I want you to think about this one for a minute. I really do want you to think about this for a minute. So, you remember when we said the commander was on the list? There's something I really want you to think about for a minute. How do you want to do the chest decals? Because there's two versions I've noticed, and I think you want to really look at that. The reason I'm saying that is because according to two different versions, I talked to Turbo about it. Turbo has said that we could either do two texture sets or simply one. It's your choice. But the reason I say it is because according to the Blur Studios model, I don't have it, and I never will have it because, well, let's face it, Blur didn't put up any screenshots of it. They only just put it up during the last minutes of the render. And the only thing that we have is like a manual one, that's it. But I noticed this. According to Blur Studios version, do you remember where his red and yellow decals are on his chest? That weird stripe?
Not really.
Hold on, give me a minute. I'll send it in. Give me a minute to. Give me a minute to find it. Because I talked to Turbo about it. Let me see. Okay, so according to okay. So here it is. I'm gonna send you two screenshots. This was from Blur Studios. Which you can tell that red area on his chest is now covered in markings that are supposed to be a general's rank.
That is a lot of markings.
But in Sega's version, you have this strange little texture that's supposed to just be... Hold on, let me get it. Because it's not popping up right on here. Oh, never mind, it's just not popping up right at all. No, it won't pop up correctly. But click that other one and hold on. I'll just, I'll cut you the slack. Give me a minute. This is the in-game one. It's just a few colors versus what Blur did, where they basically put a shit ton of different ranking marks. I then talked with Turbo about a picture. He sent me a uniform picture that shows off a general's rank. In which it looks like this. And it depends on which one you want to do. Now, if you did Blur Studios, you would have to make a whole lot more detail, but it looks cool. Then you got the in-game version, which is a little more simplistic, but it also works. It really depends on the angle you go for.
I think the simple one would be better.
I suppose that's fair. I don't know about making
My first
tech.
try of doing that was a pain. So,
However, you now have an idea of what it is versus human body, unless you wanna, I don't know, skip him for now and just consider somebody more simplistic. Westwood seems simple, but his head would probably be the most difficult due to he has no eyes. We've clearly seen that we haven't seen his eyes at all. In most comic pages, he was always shown.
also, if
with
anyone's wondering what
sunglasses.
Miles is about, Westwood is from
I'll explain. I'm sorry to be a dick, but he was an Archie comic character that was made in the Sonic X series, in which, if any of you have watched Sonic X whatsoever, you've probably seen the Commander, in which he was a simple brown or purplish-haired individual who didn't have a lot of speaking lines in the series regarding in Japanese or English, and he had no name. What Archie did was they grabbed his character and redesigned him a little bit by slicking his hair back more and having slightly different expressions and turned him into a whole different character. That whole different character was Captain Westwood, a character who was jealous and petty toward his soldiers Topaz and Rouge for getting better assignments, so he would try to sabotage. That failed, and then he tried to make a secret society to eliminate Sonic entirely.
which they named Sonic X.
As an acronym, yes. He was basically what you could call, at this point, the Archie Sonic equivalent of, I guess, Wesker, if you want to call him that. Because technically, they both do a lot of similar things. They both have blonde hair, they both have sunglasses, they're both part of a military, if not a law enforcement branch. They also run up against their companies that they used to work for and tried to go on their own path, which somehow worked for them. But of course, that's also hard to do. Because we don't know what his eyes are supposed to be, so I'm assuming... I'm assuming, based them off of, Wesker's, which could be blue. The problem with doing eyeballs in a Sonic model versus a, I guess what I'm trying to say is the difference between their model and a Sonic character is the iris. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, for Sonic's
The reason-
eyes, they're egg-shaped. Almost.
Correct. A human's is round. Entirely rounded.
Which,
So you would have to probably modify that.
yeah, but Sega's probably not going to show us anymore. You know.
I mean, it's entirely possible to do. It's just not exactly.
What I mean is, we're probably never going to see humans again.
You never really know. That's the first thing, because there are some issues I do have with Sega, but I'm not going to dig into them every 5 minutes because I hate them. I don't hate them at all. However, there are things that even Ian Flynn hates, and he's expressed it to Izuka-san multiple times. But he doesn't do it in a way that gets him fired, if not hateful. And I'll explain that. He's talked with him and told him that he straight up doesn't like it on this whole two worlds concept. And I don't like it either. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that is definitely stupid of Sega.
However, that's also the problem with, that's
I know
also a
the
problem with Izuka.
Miles, the necklace, I know it's going to be glass, but does it still need a bake?
Hold on, let me look at where... Oh, I mean, it could still be baked. It's not going to really matter, because by the end of it, I'm going to run it through Substance, and we'll probably figure out a material for it. So just do what you want,
Well,
really.
I've just separated...
Because I'm going to eventually figure it
I'm
out.
separating the necklace bit from the actual main map for this upgrade.
I mean, whatever works, really.
Also,
Because-
the body is got its own texture, and I'm doing the shoes.
Alright,
gonna have
that's
some-
fine, that's
Oh!
fine. What did you make a mistake on?
Not a mistake, I forgot.
Oh,
Guess.
well, you forgot to add the pouch to the map.
Well, actually, I'm gonna remake them pouch.
Well, that's fine, I mean... But it's not attached. And that's
I
fine.
know.
That doesn't really matter because it won't. It's probably not going to move, as far as I can tell you.
But it's going to be a lot bigger.
Okay, that's fine. What did you make a mistake on then?
I forgot to add it. I
Oh,
forgot
okay.
to. I thought I was
Well-
going to remake it, but as I said,
I would say relax. Just take it at your own pace and see what comes out. Because by all means, I am a little critical. But I'm not going to sit here and do what I've already done, which is tear in every 5 seconds because, oh, this is a problem, no. Because as far as I can tell you, there's a lot of problems with a lot of things. However, by the end of it, what can you do?
well, there's one thing I'm going to now talk to Rock about.
Right. Oh, and there's something I do want to also bring up.
And that be.
I told him about our little donut issue.
Donut.
Yes, I let him know what the hell happened.
Donut? Donut.
Yeah, the guy.
Oh,
The one that we...
Donut.
Yeah, I let him know about that. And even he agrees it's scummy. He didn't even know he was like that. I guess we uncovered something then. And, you know, I might even say it if you even have an audience right now. I'm not saying you guys can't enjoy something. But what I do recommend is if you start getting requests by a guy named The Perfect Donut for models, if any of you are into that, please be careful and don't immediately just accept anything that he tells you to do. Because I'll straight up tell you, all he's going to do is pester you every 5 minutes for model work, and then if you start doing what we did, which I was very skeptical about him, because I've worked with fan game projects before on very rare occasions, and my experience wasn't exactly the best, despite me being a little more rough around the edges. The biggest problem was that this guy, he came to me, and then he came to Ruin because of me, by extension. Now, we work as modelers together, even though it's a weird ordeal and we don't always think the same. However, the biggest problem was Donut expected us to... At first, he wanted to do things his way. And that was, like, for example, I didn't want the gunwalker working a certain way, because he wanted to do this weird squash and stretch animation that I disagreed with strongly, because that was somehow, to me, kind of just butchering the work that we committed, just so he could have my realism, which is sometimes a dumb argument, because really, Sonic isn't real in terms of its design, or in terms of its aesthetics. It's always been cartoony, and sometimes trying to add bounce to a walker that doesn't have any suspension whatsoever in most of its appearances, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It's more like an AT-AT walker. Has anybody ever noticed how those walk? They don't bounce at all. They just
Actually,
move
if I had
forward.
to compare the Walker with something, I would probably say
The only one that does
What's
that
it
is an
called?
ATST.
From Robocop 1.
Eddie 256?
Yeah.
Let me go look it up. ED 256 maybe?
It's basically like that, more, I think.
No, it's not 256. ED 209. There we go. That's what it's called. ED 209.
Yeah, I
the
think the
enforcement
Walkers are
plate.
more like that, but with human components instead of a
Robot component. Yes.
AFI.
Right. That's my problem. He kind of just wanted to make it bounce and stretch every 5 minutes just so it could look real, even though, let's face it, that sounds a little ridiculous
Like,
when...
bounce and stretch. That doesn't
Yeah.
sound real. That sounds...
The reason he
cartoony.
wanted to make it bounce is because, according to him, a walker would bounce a little bit from movement, like a human being. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
When does a human bounce?
Well, I guess more like, have you ever really messed with anything where you kind of have it move and then immediately it shows a little bit of movement on the body? I guess that's what he's trying to get at, but it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and I didn't like how he was trying to modify it that way, just so it could animate. So I declined it the first time.
Also, the
Second time,
it's a
as petty
shame.
as that is, as petty as that sounds, I think it's totally reasonable because, well, let's face it, he wasn't paying us to make these models. He wasn't doing any of it. He was just simply saying, oh, I'll pay you an exposure. That was kind of lazy. Even though we didn't make the models exclusively for him in the first place. He wanted us to make them exclusive models at one point that were custom and we would be allowed to release them, but I didn't really like how he kind of acted later. Second time he came to us, he said, "Oh, I needed modelers," apparently, which is kind of scummy on its own because he's acting like, "Oh, I'm desperate for people to work on my stuff with me," but instead of being reasonable, he wants to then act like, "Oh, you got to sign a contract or a digital signature stating that whatever he made into the game, he would not remove. He would give us credit, but he wouldn't remove it." That already was a big red flag because here's a very simple perspective for anyone who doesn't
People who make
fan game work.
have the right to find
People who exactly. The thing
Same
is,
with
people
artwork.
who make models should be respected for the creation that they make. They don't have to give you something just because you ask for it. They can be simple to say no and then walk away. They don't have to do it. They can have their stuff pull out of a video game anytime they like. That you can at least respect. They're not. This is a fan game, not a professional game. This isn't like a Sega game where you have a deadline to make. This is simply a fan project that has no deadline. And this guy's acting like he's some big millionaire corporate who simply decides, "Oh, this is how it goes." That's not how it goes, dude. And then he wants to sit there and try to defend his actions by saying, "Oh, well, it's not scummy because if it was scummy, I would have done all of this stuff without your permission." That may be true, but still trying to justify your actions does not make any form of your act. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that does not excuse your actions. What you're trying to do is screw over your modelers by saying you don't get a right to pull anything out. You have to just accept it. And even Sonic World, a game that's been riddled with drama regarding its former developer, who is now gone, even they're more respectful about people's creations. Because whenever I left them as a asset creator, they were kind enough to say, "Hey, if you're quitting, do you want to take your work out of the game? If not, we'll leave it there if you want, but that's your choice." I decided I don't want to be a part of them because I don't want to be a part of a game group that I don't get along with anymore. And I said, "No, I want my stuff back." And they handed me my stuff. They didn't argue. They didn't try to make me sign a contract. They didn't do any of that. So if you get a guy who's asking you about working on a game called Sonic Adventure Chronicles, say no. Because that guy, if you do what we did, you're going to get screwed over. Nobody should have to deal with that. Your models are your creations. Even if they're copyrighted by somebody else, you're the one that took the interpretation in 3D. If not, it's your interpretation. Therefore, your work is to be cherished by you, if not people who can respect your craft. By being disrespectful, that kind of thing shows you're not to be trusted. Or at least that's my perspective. And that's all I have to say.
Well, I'm going to finish this bag, and then that'll be my question. Then I'm going to have to talk to Brock about that whole little gold incident.
Please do not get aggressive.
Oh, I'm not. I'm just asking.
It's just, it
Why
sounds
did they not
aggressive. And,
talk to me about it. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
I mean, if he has contact with Evan, then by all means, I would like to learn a little more about her interpretations for things, because that would be kind of neat to learn. I mean, think about it.
I would like to explore that too, because I've got so much I want to learn about Whisper, Tangle, and more.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend going off and saying like 20 questions, but I would say take it very slow and casual. I mean, there's a lot of questions like, hey, how... I would say there are some questions I even have, but having questions for even someone like Ian, it would be hard to figure out because, you know how it is. Excuse me.
I know this is a bit blocky, but it's just...
And you'll figure a way to smooth it out. It's progress, that's all it is. I mean, I could probably try to make something, but I don't know, because right now I'm trying not to cough, and it's so hard not to. Okay, there we go. Okay. apparently, people. I do have another issue, but this isn't having to do with that. It's more of a model issue I've been having lately because I can't find anything for it. The problem right now is there is a model of those gun soldiers can't get any further right now due to texture problems. It has nothing to do with the UV map. We are missing a we don't have any texture to use for metal paint and camo. That's my problem right now. I don't have anything for it because nobody made any for Substance. It's always, oh, camo, fabric, fabric, fabric. There is no simple camo paint, and I don't know where I'm going to find any. I don't want to have to pay out of the rear every 5 minutes to simply get that, because who in the world wants to pay maybe potentially 40 or 50 bucks for a texture? And granted, it sounds cool, but at the same time, it sounds dumb to do that because, well, let's face it, who in the world's going to pay that much? Nobody. I know that there's a wrapping texture out there that's like gauze wrapping, but it costs like maybe $12 to use at a single person, and if you're doing it as a group, it takes $40 to be able to even have the asset, because you have to apparently pay a lot for, how do I put it? You have to pay so much for the license, apparently. Let me find it. Because if I do bloody bandages on ArtStation, it would cost me a whopping total of... Oh, well, here's the good thing about it. The problem is it's too realistic in some areas, but you can also decide the layers. If you want a few layers or a lot of layers. And then the coverage, you decide how tight you want it.
Yeah.
The dirt amount,
This
all of
is
that.
a bit more bad pouch.
It does have a little more roundness.
Of course.
Let me find out where to pay for this thing. I might actually buy
A
it.
quick check. If we add a bit more shape, put less width.
He wants... Oof. The guy wants 12 bucks for the thing. And that's only for one installation by a single user for non-commercial use.
No, we'll go for the extra detail. Fine.
I mean, should we even bother getting this thing? It looks cool, but I don't know if we even want it in the first place. The problem is it's a little realistic in terms of its textures. And I don't know if that's what we want. I mean, I'm tempted, but I don't know. I mean, 12 bucks is a little much for a texture, but might be good, might not be.
Okay, this model just needs finished map, and Malik's upgrade is finished. Okay, he looks a lot better now. Way better.
I don't know how it's gonna
next
be.
Next week
when...
I will be finishing Malik with a UV map. And basically in visitors, and then if I actually get into contact with the maker of gold, I might do some work on gold.
Maybe.
Might.
That. You know, there's another question I have, and I might consider it. I don't know, but maybe making those giant robots that they had from Onyx City. That'd be kind of neat, but I don't know if I want to do those robots because they're kind of weird. And the last concept art we ever got of them was a sideways view, and I cannot do sideways. My biggest problem is if I'm going to do a robot based off concept art, I have to have it front and back, side. I don't need it side front, side back. That doesn't work. That doesn't help understand it at all. That makes it wonky and kind of confusing.
Well, hopefully Malik will be with me next week to do some talk about this too. And until then, well, tomorrow I'll be doing... Well, tomorrow I'm live streaming StarCraft 2 toy play. So until then, Have fun, respect, and GG.